The Davao del Norte provincial prosecutor clears 7 individuals arrested and sued for serious illegal detention in the raid of a Lumad school in Cebu City in February. Among them is teacher Chad Book, a petitioner in the 37 cases filed against the anti-terror law currently being held in the Supreme Court. The 7 have been detained since February 17. The prosecutor's resolution says the cases are dismissed for insufficiency of evidence, lack of probable cause, and being outside the territorial jurisdiction of this office. The prosecutor orders the Central Visayas Police to immediately release the detained teachers, community elders, and Lumad students collectively known as the Bakwit 7. On February 15, Cebu Police and social workers conducted a raid at the University of San Carlos Talamban Campus Retreat House, where Lumad students, community elders, and volunteer teachers were taking refuge. Police said they had a rescue operation to save children from being trained as child warriors on the campus of Cebu's oldest Catholic university. The university denies the Lumads were being trained as rebels. During the release of the Bakwit 7, police initially denied entry to Rappler Cebu correspondent Lorraine Ekarma, who was covering the event inside the Police Regional Office or PRO 7.
They refused to allow Rappler to enter the vicinity, calling us a fake news media outfit.
Later, Ekarma says a non-uniformed personnel also insinuates a leftist agenda behind Rappler's presence.
I heard one policeman make a slight comment na Chad and I were going to see each other in the mountains daw. So I took it as red tagging on my part.
Ekarma is eventually granted entry after the Regional Police's Public Information Office gave a go signal, but is prohibited from filming and interviewing the police. In a statement, Rappler deplores the arbitrary exclusion of its correspondent from the coverage of Book's release. Rappler, which has been banned from covering the activities of President Rodrigo Duterte in and out of Malacanang since 2018, says the Philippine Constitution is explicit in protecting freedom of the press. Rappler adds whimsically preventing a journalist from documenting and reporting on the release of Book is a violation of that constitutional right. The National Union of Journalists of the Philippines also calls out authorities over the incident and reminded police that interrogating the official narrative does not make a news organization or journalist fake news. Metro Manila and nearby provinces Cavite, Rizal, Laguna, and Bulacan shift to General Community Quarantine or GCQ with heightened restrictions starting Saturday, May 15 until May 31. Santiago City, Quirino, Ifugao, and Zamboanga will be under Modified Enhanced Community Quarantine or MECQ. Meantime, the following areas will be under looser General Community Quarantine. In areas under GCQ with heightened restrictions, persons 18 to 65-year-old can go out of their homes, but only essential travel in and out of NCR Plus is allowed. For restaurants, indoor dine-in is allowed at 20% seating capacity, while outdoor dine-in is allowed at 50% capacity. For outdoor tourist sites, 30% capacity is allowed. Religious gatherings and necrological services are also allowed at 10% venue capacity. Those who want to do non-contact sports and games outdoors can do so, and salons and parlors can operate at 30% capacity. Meantime, the Health Department on Friday, May 14, says it doesn't recommend the proposal for the country to have vaccine pass. The vaccine pass will allow vaccinated individuals to have unlimited access to business establishments.
Dahil nga po dito po sa mga pauna na mga ebidensyang naibigay sa atin, hindi po nakakapag-block ng transmission ng adequately itong mga bakunang meron tayo ngayon.
Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergere reminds the public even if people are fully vaccinated, they still need to observe minimum health standards. In related news, the Philippines signs a deal that will secure 40 million doses of Pfizer and BioNTech's COVID-19 vaccine for the country. The deal is the next step in vaccine negotiations and is necessary for locking in logistics needed for production and delivery. Retired Supreme Court Justice Antonio Carpio launches a signature campaign Friday, May 14, demanding President Rodrigo Duterte to retract his defeatist statements on the West Philippine Sea issue. Carpio says Duterte's statements on the sea dispute are dangerous and detrimental to the country's sovereignty and sovereign rights in the West Philippine Sea. In the petition, Carpio demands the president to retract his remarks on the issue, including his statement saying the 2016 Hague ruling is just a scrap of paper he can throw away. Carpio also wants Duterte to retract his claims that Chinese fishermen can fish in the Philippines' exclusive economic zone and that China is in possession of the West Philippine Sea. Carpio says these statements are against the Constitution and show concessions to China despite the Philippines' victory in the 2016 Hague ruling. The National Task Force for the West Philippine Sea reports 287 Chinese maritime militia vessels remain scattered in the West Philippine Sea as of May 9. On May 4, Chinese Coast Guard ships shadowed and challenged Philippine government vessels in Bajo de Masinloc, Zambales. The United States Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says fully vaccinated people don't need to wear masks outdoors and can avoid wearing them indoors in most places. The CDC also says fully immunized people will not need to physically distance in most places. The recommendation comes just 16 days since CDC issued revised guidelines that left many restrictions in place for vaccinated people. In March, the agency came under fire for initially discouraging immunized grandparents to fly to visit loved ones. It also faced criticism for being too cautious. CDC Director Rochelle Walensky says the new guidelines are based on a sharp reduction in cases, expansion of vaccines to younger people, and vaccine efficacy against COVID-19 variants. US President Joe Biden also appeared at the White House for remarks without a mask. This move is a major step towards returning to pre-pandemic life, but the agency still recommends vaccinated people wear masks on planes and trains, and at airports, transit hubs, mass transit, and places like hospitals and doctors' offices. Miss Universe Philippines 2020 Rabiya Mateo wears a costume inspired by the Philippine flag during the national costume segment of the 69th Miss Universe competition Friday, May 14, Manila time. During her stage walk, the commentator describes her blue wing as a symbol of royalty and the red as a symbol of the courage and strength of an independent woman. Her costume also features 3 stars that signify the hope and freedom to choose whoever you want to be.
I feel like I'm a Victoria's Secret and I'm gonna fly.
Rabiya's costume is designed by the late Filipino avant-garde designer Rocky Gattercole, who died in March 2021. After the event, a tearful Rabiya goes live on Instagram to apologize to those who expressed disappointment over her performance.
I'm so sorry kung na-disappointment kayo sa akin, but I know na I did my best. I even cut my finger earlier. And yung stockings ko, puno na din siya ng dugo. But I kept fighting. Kahit wala nang oras, I didn't have time to retouch my hair, to retouch my makeup.
Before the national costume segment, Rabiya opens up about the struggle she faced representing the Philippines in the pageant. In a video uploaded by the Miss Universe organization Thursday, May 13, Manila time, Rabiya admits she was a dark horse going into the Miss Universe Philippines competition.
Nobody noticed me. When I won, I received different comments. Of course, there were people who didn't expect me to do well, who think that I cheated. That's why I need to redeem myself in Miss Universe. I really need to do well in this competition.
Rabiya says criticism and doubts drive her to win the crown.
The thing is, I love pressure. I love criticism. I get better every day with that. You tell me I cannot do that, I turn to you and I'm gonna say that no, I can do it for myself.
The 69th Miss Universe will be aired via A2Z channel on May 17, 8 a.m. Manila time in the Philippines.
I may or I may not win the crown, but one thing is for sure, I'm gonna make you all proud.